All right. Well, welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and get started with our second installment of the monthly Tech Talks. Again, just a reminder, there's no really planned agenda for these meetings. The goal is to have people have access to somebody who might be able to help them through things in the portal or other tech questions they have. And by no means am I going to claim that I know all the answers, but together we can either figure it out or I can take down notes and reach out to people to find the answers for us. So with that, I'll kind of just open it up right away to anybody who has questions. What do we want to talk about first tonight? Nobody has big ideas, big things to talk about?
All right, Matt, I have one.
Sure.
A portal question.
Sure.
How can I find out on the multiple level
Okay.
how many clubs in a certain month did reported in a certain cause?
All
Yeah,
right.
not an easy one to start.
No, that's a good question. So let's go ahead and share the portal here, and we'll start kind of looking through where that could be located. I think we can probably find it, but let's take a peek here. All right. Which screen do you see? I don't think that didn't share right. That didn't share what I wanted to share. All right, that looks better. That looks better. All right, so we'll go ahead and log into the portal. And you said at the multiple level, right, Rob?
Yes, sir.
So for me, the multiple level, I get when I use the My CA tile, it brings me to the multiple level. For some of you that don't have security at the multiple level from a access perspective, your My CA tile will actually bring you to your district. I learned that this weekend that a lot of our vice district governors, it brings you to the district. So the first thing I'm going to do in here is enable my ability to see the data download because I got a feeling it's in there. So you see I don't have data download available, so I'm actually going to select this My Officer Assignment button. What that does is if you land on a page where you might have multiple levels of authorization, you have to actually select which role you want to be, kind of like we used to have to do in my LCI. If you remember, you'd have to select like I'm a secretary, otherwise it would look like you were the past governor or whatever by default. So this does take a minute or two. It's a little bit slower process, but it'll pull up all of my current title assignments. And then what I'll do is I'll select either the past council chair or the multiple district tech one, because I think those would give me the right access. And then we'll walk through trying to find. As soon as it actually thinks.
Hey, Matt, just FYI, when I talked to Lions International, they did say this is supposed to default to your highest preference.
I agree. That's what I always thought, and I didn't realize until very recently that certain pages you land on will make you do this. So I'm going to click on this one here where my multiple level is past council chair. And what you're going to see is now the data export is available and my options here changed at the multiple level. This reports button also showed up. So in the data export, there is club level service activity information, and there's district level service information, and there is multiple level service information. So you wanted to know about specific clubs, right? Or did you want to know like across a district?
I wanted to know across the multiple.
So again, these levels here, my understanding is that the multiple level one is only going to show you things that were reported as a multiple service project. So I think I'm going to try the club level one here first, and let's see what this report allows us to do. And again, some of these reports are things that you guys might not have access to. We might need to figure out how to get them and then have people, run them for us. So, this is showing me across the top here. Project type, and there should be a category somewhere here for, didn't see it. Oh, there it is, cause. Right, so if I select under cause here and scroll down, a lot of times they're going to say other humanitarian, but here's like a hunger, for example, right? Somebody reported a hunger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I could click into the edit here and I could either remove some of those categories from not showing up on the report, or I could go into my filters here and I could change to only show, like, for example, things with hunger. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go back to where we were at, and I'm going to click this little down arrow and hit export. So when you get to this export, it's going to allow you to take the data that qualifies for that report and save it as a report, right? If you click the formatted report here, it's going to give you like a PDF report with, like, looking all nice and pretty, like you were going to print out like a brochure. If you click on details only and you use the XLS, the old version of Excel, it's going to show you in Excel format what that pretty PDF looks like, but it's not going to show like a single row on a spreadsheet with all of your information. It's going to have, like the name and then title and like in multiple different rows. So from here, you actually want to select this Excel format, XLSX, like the newer version of Excel, and you'll notice that those other options for encoding differently go away. And if I select export here, it might take a little bit because this is going to be pulling all service activities across the entire multiple that have been reported. So maybe this is one of those places where if they have less reported, it's better for us because the report won't take quite as long. But once it does, we'll open Excel, and then I'll use Excel to actually manipulate what I'm looking for as far as ordering columns and sorting things and stuff like that, because I find that that's a lot easier to do than it is to use your play around in the system with the way the formatting is. That's the one drawback to that, is that this is going to take a little while for it to run. Whereas if I would have filtered out other things, it wouldn't take so long. Just going to move that so I can actually see up here. Looks like we must have reported a lot of stuff for the multiple. Where's Bert when we need a joke while we're waiting for the... All right, there it goes. And you see it downloaded an Excel file for me. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. You'll see that now everything is every entry is a single line all the way over. And of course, I don't know why it does this, but like your multiple district, your district, all of that, it shows up at the very, very last column with the formatting, the way they've built the report by default. You can move that before you export it, but I just do this when I get in here because I like that to be up front, right? So what I can do here then is I can select this first row and use my filtering options, right? And I can, let's say I'm just going to pick on my own district here. I can now limit everything to only show things that have been reported from 5M1. And if I scroll down, I'm only going to have 5M1. And then I can go over to that category of that cause, right? And I'm going to select, I only want childhood cancer. And now these are all of the things that were reported. And you'll notice here the report completed, some say false. Those are people who went into report and they didn't click that little box that says, send report or complete report. So they basically have one that's out there that's unfinished or ready to report. So I could even go like that and say, I only want the ones that are true, right? So all of these, what do we got for account? 46 entries are what District 5M1 clubs have reported for childhood cancer. If I wanted to, I could take this information and export it, right? And I could do running totals on the people and volunteers and stuff to see how many hours or how many funds were donated directly to that at that specific level. So if you were doing this for across the multiple, let's say we do it like actually what October was hunger, wasn't it? Or October was vision, November was hunger?
Yep, October's vision.
Okay. So if I came back over here and I just changed that to from childhood cancer. And let's deselect all and select vision. Now I have it for the multiple. So there's 2,885 entries so far across the multiple for vision. And if I start to scroll, you'll see that there's 5M2, and then eventually we'll get to 3 and 4 and 5. Now, if you wanted to go one step further, you have the start and end date, right? So you could build within these filters, begins with, ends with, contains. You could build your filter in Excel to only show things that were from October 1st to, October 30th too, to get down to specifically what it was. So that's how I would go about doing it, because I like the fact that in Excel I can kind of do what I want to. I could, like I said, create the report to only show what I want to. So for example, I could go back to this report here and I could click edit. And sometimes you have to play around with it, right? But I could put a filter in here where it says the end date, and I could say is equal to, yeah, there's all kinds of options in here, right? I could say that the end date is less than October 31st, if I can get this thing out of my way again. Which isn't going to change anything for me in this sense, right? Because I wonder why there's multiple end dates. It's strange, isn't it? There's end date here, there's end date here, there's end date there.
This will get me what I need, though.
What was that?
This will
Yeah.
get me what I need.
Yeah, then we go to, let's just try to see if I could put start date as October 1st and hit run and see if that works or if it limits things. If you add and change those and you hit run and it doesn't return anything, it means you made, yeah, see, it didn't work, whatever I tried, because this one still has a start date of July. So the filter that I applied didn't do what I wanted it to. So I'd obviously have to build, do something else to. But yeah, you can, so you can play around with some of this stuff. Obviously, this didn't. Oh, that's probably because there's like 35 end dates here. So let me. Oh, end date. Come on, go away.
It's crazy how much this portal you can go into.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's probably data tables that aren't even linked to things yet, so that in the next, months and weeks and whatever, they'll start adding more functionality that will allow us to do even more. But now that we're in where the data is in a consolidated system, we can start using some more of these advanced like report writing softwares and like KPI dashboard kind of rendering systems to do things. So we were less than or equal to, we wanted 31st, right? I'm just going to change both of these to be that and see if I can get it to actually limit what. That might not be the right place to even do that, so we'll see if it likes it or not. Yeah, see, it did something, but it still doesn't look right because it's April. It's still showing everything. The start date didn't work, but yeah, see, look at it. It's doing the opposite of what I wanted. It's only showing things like previous to the start date one isn't working now. It's only showing stuff before October. But anyway, you get the idea, right? So that would kind of get you your ability to get that information. You just have to use Excel or figure out how all of those different fields work to get the filter to work.
So the start part, where did you go to get into report?
Ah, no, yeah. So what I did, no, it's so you have to get to those kind of reports, um, you have to use the data export. So if you don't have access to the data export at the multiple level, you would have to have somebody else download that for you. So I'm going to go back to my CA because that's where it is. So you see mine has disappeared again. I don't have data export. I have to go in and select that multiple role of mine, even though, like you said, I think it's supposed to default in there. If you
Okay.
can't find
Matt,
multiple, you can search for it.
Matt,
Yes.
so I've used reports forever, but with any other system, with all these things and fooling around with Excel and making a PDF and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so, and also the my officer assignments. But now you started out just with in CA. So anything we do that looks for reports, you start with constitutional area. That's
No. No,
how you do it.
I went to my CA because that's where I find the multiple district page.
Okay,
That's just where it happens to land for me. So you can either look at a club level page, a district level page, a multiple level page. You
club
have to
level
go to
page is
that link first.
not useful to us for the most part. We're doing the district level work, obviously.
Right.
So where do we go land in the district
Yep.
area?
So most of you, when you click on my CA, you will land on your district page. I don't because of the way that I have multiple level access. It, for whatever reason, defaults me to the multiple, not to the district. And I actually have to search for 5M1 in the search and then click on district 5M1 to get to the district page. If your my CA doesn't work to get you to the district, search for your district across the top and click on the page like I just did. So when I come in here,
Where-
for example, you'll see that data export is automatically there for me at the district level, and I don't have any other assignments that I can
So,
select.
so at the district level, somebody has data export.
Yep. And
Do
then
you have
you'd
any
have the
idea who
club
that
and the
is?
district level service exports like right
Well,
here.
for anything.
Yep. So the one thing to kind of keep note of though is that the data export reports are not the same as the view reports over here that are the old My LCI reports. They work fundamentally different. These are just the old reports built in the new system. These data export ones will get you to data sets that are already kind of
Okay,
prepared for you.
like for example here, we would very much like to have district officer contact information.
Yep.
Okay, can we get a report that
Yep.
is a full composite of all of that and not one entry at a time?
Yep. So you'd come into here. This is all of your district level people. Now, one thing to be aware of, and I'll just export this right away because it's just easier to look at in Excel for me. One thing to kind of be aware of is at the district level, this report, and I'll show you two different reports that you can use here, okay? Because there are actually two in the system that one might be better than the other. So this one, you will note that everybody who has the past district governor role also qualifies as an officer of the district on this report. Because as far as the portal is concerned, all of these people have a certain level of access. But like for your cabinet, right? Your past district governors, unless they're the immediate past, may or may not be on the cabinet. They would actually have to be in another role to be on your cabinet. They're just not there automatically because they're a past district governor, right? So when I look through here, a lot of these are the correct cabinet positions down here, but then there's all of these extra past district governors. So you
Okay,
might have to filter through that.
so with the club level report, supposedly, because I used to get these, work these out. We can still get in there and get, like if I wanted to do a report on a club, I can get the report where it shows, I can, let's say, pull up for the district, all of the, secretaries, all the
Yep.
treasurers, all of the, okay.
Yep, that would be this club officer report. And if
Okay,
we
so
go into,
what do we do about the ones that haven't, does it show us the ones that haven't turned them in?
no.
How do we
So
know that? Just by chance?
you'd have to look at the list. So here, if we go export, yeah, there isn't a, it might be nice function if it would return null fields, like where it still listed them but just didn't have data, because then you would know that they were empty, right?
Right.
The way that this report it works, it doesn't show those null fields. So
Hmm.
hold on a second.
Okay.
Open.
At this point in time, who has the ability to input this for the various clubs, for the
So
office?
to import it. So
Input?
yep. So like if they're missing,
Yeah,
yeah. So if they are missing data, there's a couple of different ways that can get entered in. So let's say your club has a secretary that's authorized, but other fields are missing, other officers are missing. That club secretary would be the most likely person to enter that because they would still have access.
what if nobody's in?
So let's
We
say
have
that's where I was
no
going.
information.
Yeah, let's say there's none reported. The
Right.
only person that's really going to be able to input that for you outside of a email or a correspondence with LCI is going to be your district administrator. So if your district has a district administrator,
But we don't.
that district administrator essentially is a secretary of every single club from a
Right. Right.
permissions perspective.
Okay, I'll
So
share that with Bob. Thank you.
If you don't have one, then Bob's gonna have to work with Lions International to assign someone to that position.
I know that, but he has not been willing to do that because
I'm just saying what you need to
we've
do.
got the holes everywhere, but I need to let him know. That's what I've been trying
Right.
to tell him. The reason why we can't get this stuff in because we got to have somebody as a district administrator.
Yeah.
Without that, you are just dead in the water.
And the district administrator isn't something they can just go in and assign. They have to fill out that form for district level
Right.
actions.
Exactly.
It's like an
Exactly.
extra
I'm
step.
very much aware of it. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yep.
reinforcing that. And also, I'm happy to see that all the report areas, when you pulled that up, they're all real familiar. It's
Right.
just figuring out how to get in the rabbit hole.
Yep. So the other type of report that you have is you actually have district officer contact in the canned reports too. And this is going to be more like what you expected to see before, and I'm not going to export it in this case
Yeah.
as an Excel, but this is what is going to give you that list.
Yeah, that's what we've been looking for because we
Yeah.
went in on some of this stuff, and again, it's just a matter of knowing which rat hole to get or rabbit hole
Right.
to get in. Is we were
Right.
just getting for clubs, we were just getting the name of the president.
And when you do
That's
this
for a
report,
generic email.
you're not going to have all of those past district governors show up either.
Yeah. Okay.
But the other thing that is a drawback to this report is, and even the other one is, you have to remember in your cabinet, oftentimes we will have two people that are vision coordinators, right? And the system
Right.
only allows us to import one. So you'll still have to kind of keep your cabinet list separate almost
Well, yeah.
to make sure
Yeah,
you
that's not
capture
a problem.
everybody.
Let's see. I had one. Well, I'll just get in there and try to find the reports and play around with it because I hadn't seen that breakthrough before, so I really appreciate it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to hop off because I'm also GE. I would love to be here the whole time, and I'm assuming you'll send out the recording or whatever, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to go do a J meeting with the GET guys. So
Sounds good.
fare thee well. Thank you guys. Nice seeing all of you.
Yep.
Bye.
Sounds good. All right. Who else has a question? Anything else you want to start diving into?
Matt, it's line Lorna.
Yeah,
I'm
hi.
trying to look at new members. So I ran the report for new members and it came from like this fiscal year. But is there any way to backdate it, say from June of last year, or is it only going to be this current year?
So which report was it?
I'm looking for the new members
Okay,
to see who was new members, say it's from June of this year. But when I ran it, I only got it from July. I couldn't get back into June. And I was
gotcha.
just wondering if there's another way of trying to access that information.
Yep, so you use the new member report in here,
I
right?
did, yes. Yeah,
So you see this from month and year and to date?
yeah.
So if I was to go and say from, well, I suppose I have to do 01 of 2024 to 06 2024. That's going to be the first half of this year, right? So that's
Right.
first half of this calendar year, but it is a different lion year.
Right.
So when I run this, I should get data. And you see, I
Okay.
do. I don't know. We might want to try that with 07 too, because well, this one probably should be right. So a lot of those old My LCI reports, the way
Okay.
that they worked is they could not cross when you built in that data field. You couldn't cross the Lions calendar year, so you actually would have to run them twice and combine that data in order to get a full
Okay.
Lions year. I don't know why that works that way, and my assumption is that it still will work that way here. In the old system, if you tried to go, like, let's say I try to go from, let's say I wanted to do the whole year so far, right?
Right.
In the past, I'm going to hit submit just to see what happens. In the past, see, it would give me a warning saying it can't do that. And now in this case, it did do it, but I don't
Okay.
know if this total is accurate or not.
Okay. All right. I'll go back and give that a try.
Oh,
Second
maybe
question.
it is. Well, see, 7188797. See, it's not capturing that 1 to 6. Oh, there's a 6. Maybe it did work.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in the past it wouldn't, it would give you an error and it would error out saying you couldn't span that.
I don't think it did though, Matt, because before you had a bunch from Altura and I didn't see them.
Yeah, I only find one that was in the month of 6. There's 2 that are in 6. And nothing that's before that.
Okay. So I have to run it from the first half of the year and then the second
Yeah,
half.
there
then.
was more from Altura, wasn't there, the first time?
Yeah.
So
And we had some in our club and they weren't listed either. So
one nice thing is it remembers what you ran before in those drop downs, or at least Chrome does. Yeah, see, there's a whole bunch more here in Altura that wasn't
Okay.
there.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will go ahead and do that. The second
so I
question.
would run multiple ones and merge them together. The same thing is common with the deceased lions report that a lot of people
We're looking for.
their necrology services will have. So
Okay, I'll go ahead and look at that. My second question is that how do I print screen one of these screens?
well, it kind of depends on your computer.
Okay.
And what software you would have, but let's say I wanted to take a picture of this one right here, or actually this is probably not a good example because I would actually click this download button here and hit save, and then it's in my downloads folder, the actual PDF. That's probably not a good example of something I'd want to look at that way. But like, let's say that you want to help out another club and tell them what to input in these fields, so that it looks like that, because they have the same question. So if you're using a Windows-based computer, and I think this works on 10 as well as 11, I know it does on 11. If you use the Windows key, the one that looks like the window, Shift and then S, there is a built-in snap tool in the operating system. And then
Shift and then an S. Okay.
Yep. And then it allows me to go like this and to drag and drop and click that.
Okay,
And it's not going to work right because it won't pull things up when I'm sharing in Zoom. The other window that
Okay.
I took a picture of, so I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second. I ran into this before. When you're sharing it, the secondary screen that says, "Hey, do you want to see what you saved?" And you click yes on it, doesn't show that pop up for whatever reason. So I went off for a second, and it opens a thing that looks like this that's called a snipping tool. And here's my
Okay.
picture, and I can use markers to like, draw, things on it and whatever.
Okay.
And I can either use the save button to save it to my computer, or if I just want to copy and paste this picture directly in an email, I can use this copy button to save it as an image on my clipboard and then just paste it directly into a message somewhere else. And I
Okay,
use this
awesome.
all the time. I used to use other software. It even has a shortcut here to open it in Paint if you wanted to, so that if you wanted to come in and, be more precise with things or with colors, you can do more in there.
How did you get to paint? Sorry? How
There's
did
just
you
a
get to
button
paint?
right at the top here that says edit.
Oh, I see. Yes,
Right
okay,
in that,
yep,
right in the snipping tool software.
okay.
If you're using a Mac or a computer that doesn't have a new enough version of Windows, you just have to have some kind of software that allows you to do that.
Okay, I'll play around with that. Thank you.
Worst case scenario, use your phone, take a picture,
Well, yeah, that would
send the
probably
picture
what
to
it would be.
yourself in an email and open that picture.
Yeah. I've done that lots. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Other
I should tell
questions?
you, I did. Sorry, Matt, I should tell you, I did finally figure out how to export all those email addresses.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it took me a few hours, but I finally figured it out.
You got her figured out. Yeah.
I did. I did. That was a learning curve for that day.
What other questions do we have? Like, again, these questions here don't have to be about just the portal. I figure a lot of them will be. They can be about other things too.
I think you've answered my couple for tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, can I jump in, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, mine is maybe not something everybody needs to know, but I learned that there's a free version of Canva Pro for nonprofits. Are you aware of this?
I have heard of that. I don't know of Lions clubs that have successfully done that yet, though, and I'll give you the caveat as to why. It very well could. I went down the similar path with Microsoft because Microsoft offers a Office 365 subscription free to nonprofits as well. However, because Lions are 501c3s, they do not qualify with Microsoft. You have to be a C4, which is an actual charity, one that can have tax deductible donations. I ran into that both for our club as a C3 and for a Chamber of Commerce as a C6, where Microsoft would not allow that. So it could be possible that Canva would have similar restrictions and not consider a C3, or excuse me, a C4 or a C. I think I misspoke and said them backwards before. You have to be a C4 or a C3. We are a C4. Usually, some clubs are C3s if they have a foundation attached to them, or if they had to get that level for charitable gambling. I'm not sure if Canva does that or not, but I suspect that could be. But I have also heard that same thing, that they have a free pro license that basically, instead of the generic entry, you can get the pro license for free. I would assume their website should have ways to,
Okay, I was here. Registered with thanks.
like even if we apply for Canva
This is
nonprofit. So eligibility guidelines for the
organizations
nonprofit.
that yep. That's right where I am. So if you scroll down more, scroll down and then
Click United
find
States.
United States. Yeah, I think
Holy
it's
cow,
exactly.
this should just be a drop down. They shouldn't make you have to scroll through
I
everything.
know. So
Yeah, so you have to be a C3, see?
Yep. Okay. That's why I can't
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah, that's where I've run
that.
into things before with Lions is
Yeah.
if you're a C4, which we are by default, most of these places don't consider you a nonprofit, even though you are.
Well, geez. Okay. That answers my question.
And I actually, when I talked to the people, I talked to somebody at Microsoft, like I called them, and I'm like, well, why can't the Chamber of Commerce, which is a nonprofit, get this? Just because they're a C6 isn't a good enough excuse for me. And that person
Right.
told me they have no plans to change um their designation from anything but a C3 being eligible,
Yeah. Huh.
which is too bad. There's a lot of other classifications of nonprofit, but
Right. Okay.
just too bad.
Yeah.
I don't even know, what does a
Okay.
Canva Pro license cost?
Oh, I have no idea.
Let's
I just
find out.
need to get with Heidi. I know there are things in here I want to
Oh.
do.
$120 a year for one person
Oh, for one person.
for pro.
Mm. Wow.
There's money in the district account though for newsletter. So if
There
it's
is.
something you need.
The other
Oh, there-
thing is it depends on what you need to do in there, because some of the things like using the API to send the newsletter may not require the pro level either.
No, right.
I'm not sure how much Heidi had to have pro for it, or it was just easier because she had pro.
She had pro? I didn't think she
I don't
did.
know if she did or not. I'm just
Oh.
speculating.
I don't think she did, because when I mentioned this, she didn't know anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
I know I just have the free version that I played around with a little bit.
Yeah. I know there are things I wish it could do, and we're gonna get together next Monday, so hopefully she can teach me some more. Mhm.
Other questions that people have?
I'm trying to play around with the actual service and get a graph of just a certain cause.
Like in the insights here?
Yep. And I can get the data, but I can't get it to create a sort of graph or whatever on a certain cause.
You're trying to go into service activities here.
Yep.
And
And
then
then
you're
had
doing district
US,
level.
Canada on the left there, and then 5M.
All right, I'm just gonna go to my district to make it even less. Oh, so you're trying to. Well, this is hours by month, the default.
Yep, and so I was trying to get all the data for like hunger again into a graph like that would have the hours and that sort of thing.
Like that right there.
Well, If I could see it better, I'm a little blind here.
Well, it's pretty small on the screen. So if you go back to the report, this right here, if you notice, has all of the different colors, right?
Yep.
So if you click on this more options here and you hit sort access, all I did was select hunger.
Oh, that.
However, I don't know if that really helped.
I think it's gonna.
No, it's still showing everything though,
Oh, is it?
right?
So let me
I
start.
don't know what administration is, so if you show us,
Administration is like your club meetings.
gotcha. Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't think that's really helping. It's just using hunger as the focus. I mean, you can still see this line here, but it's showing everything on the graph. It's not allowing me to.
And that's what I was running into. But you play around with it enough. The only problem is when I play around with it, if I figure something out, I have to figure it out like 2 or
Right,
3
you don't
times
know,
before
you
I
don't know how you
remember.
got there, right? We've all been there before. I was trying to show somebody a list that I did. Oh, so here I exported it, that table, right?
Mm-hmm.
To well, here, if I click enable editing, it'll actually let me play with those little drop downs. So I could use this then and Excel do graphing, right? I haven't done that in a long time, but I don't know if I really remember how on here, but there's ways to. It's been a long time since I had to like
Well, I
plot
don't want to
something
take
for,
up time if someone else has more questions.
but there's got to be a way to export it. Well, do it like that. The other thing is if you go to some of these, this KPI one, I haven't really figured out how to use some of these yet in here.
I agree with you. I played with that and played
And
with it.
if you click on that browse, you can actually go up a level and look at like this service activity dashboard. I don't know if you've played around with this one at all. So I don't know, like if, for example, if I do this, it's going to change and show the US numbers, right? Not all of the filters that I would want are necessarily on here, but there's a lot of different information in here. Like right now it's showing us the first quarter, but I can zoom in to say August, for example, and then all of these things are going to update. But there's no way for me to do anything but club type and constitutional area. It would be really nice if on this dashboard, it allowed me to do district, right? Because then all of these numbers would all update specific to my district. And it's just not set up to do that quite yet. And you know, there's nothing for me to change or update or edit.
You know, well, they are continuing to update.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know what the membership one looks like. Yeah. Yeah, very similar. But see, again, it's just constitutional area. I wonder what this drill down does. Yeah, again, this is just gonna be kind of like what looks like in multiple district. Where's 5M? 5M. So it's like that bottom half of the insights tab. This is where it's getting that information from, right? This is just in a report. That's not really providing anything more than what we had before. The other place that you might be able to do something is if we go back to the district page here, Rob. If you look at, I think this just shows the district level ones though, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because some of these other kinds of reports, there's other things we can do with them. But I don't think graphing is one of them. And this is just the amount of, I don't think it'll tell you specifics, will it?
Not that I've been able to find. I've
I
played with
think this
a
is
bit.
just like the percentage of clubs that have. Well, this you can a little bit, but again, it's not going to be graphical up here because if you see down here, it's got the plus again. So
Mhm.
I can drill. Oh, I can't. Ugh. I was going to say you might be able to drill all the way down to the club, but it doesn't. Oh, here, what if I select instead of club reporting service, what if I click global causes? There you go. So you see this graph over here, 48 total projects, 2 are cancer, 8 are environment, 23 are humanitarian, 7 are hunger.
I like that. I could,
So that's environment, that's humanitarian, that's hunger. This is the totals and this is the picture. And you can blow this up to be like this, right? I could even do that, I guess, and that shows the numbers at least, and then do my, little screenshot and be like, here you go. Insert, copy and paste it and put it into something. Did you see how I got there?
not really.
So I went to the Insights district, the second one down, and then I used the second tab over that said service activities. And the default here is like what the percent of clubs reporting is. But if I select over here, I can select service types or global causes. And when I select global causes, it breaks that out based on what that looks like. So for example, here, you can see that there's 107,900 humanitarian, and then it allows you to go down to the district level down at the bottom here. So like year 5, right?
Yep.
So if I were to go into 5, I can see that's the way your piece of pie breaks down. There's been 125 reported. 4 are cancer, 4 are administration, 1 is cancer, 15 are environment, 41 humanitarian, 20 hunger, 37 vision, and 7 youth. Now I'm not sure what the time frame is for that because I clicked on things too. Oh, you can see right here the breakdown by month. So not much in October so far. You did a lot in August. And if you hover, like that's the one nice thing about it, rather than a picture, but just the hovering, you see how it'll actually show you that that's humanitarian, that red that I'm on there.
Yep.
This 8 over here is hunger. Looks like the colors are static. So yellow is always hunger. Red is humanitarian. Blue is always vision. Youth is that kind of teal color. Yeah, so at least you can kind of get to some kind of graphic, I guess, in there this way. Well, there's a lot of stuff you could do with these other kind of bullets that a lot of times we don't actually click on. Other questions that anybody has? Any other rabbit holes we want to go down? Anybody have a question that they think has already been answered, but they don't remember and just want me to show real quick again?
Richie, are you on right now?
Can't hear. It sounds all muffled to me.
Oh, that's maybe there he is. Blind Richie from Russell was trying to get on that and was having some issues.
Okay. Well, I can't hear. Can anybody hear?
No. Are
Sounds
you
like a
saying
mouse.
anything?
Well, it sounds like a squirrel talking or something. Like it's like really, really fast and high pitched. Like I could tell it's audio, but I can't hear what it's saying.
But I don't
Maybe
think,
put it in the chat.
did you have some questions, Richie? No, we're not coming through at all.
Is that Richie or Alvin?
Yeah, you can't hear anything. If you have a specific question, just enter it in the chat. It's a way to get around the audio. I can hear something, but I can't make out what it is. All right. All right. Any other questions? No, we're getting close to the top of the hour anyway, so. If there's no other questions, we maybe just end a couple minutes early for this month. Again, thanks everybody for coming. Always fun to kind of play around and try to find answers to questions we don't know. I learned some things tonight playing around that I didn't know we could do in the system. So again, if you have any other questions outside of here, feel free to reach out to me. I can always help try to facilitate getting the answers to some questions when people are struggling. I don't want people to just sit there banging their head against the wall trying to, get frustrated if they can kind of phone a friend and reach out and let somebody else try to help them. So with
Thank you,
that, I
Matt.
guess,
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
yeah, not a problem. Always fun. Look forward to seeing y'all next month.
Right.
All
Take
right.
care.
All
All
right,
right.
bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks.